In the middle of the Atlantic Ocean lies an island called Madeira. To a tourist, it is a paradise of emerald cliffs and sapphire waters. But in the mid-1980s, in the neighborhood of Santo Antonio, a rugged, rural outskirts of Funchal, life was not a postcard. It was a grind against the stone. The hills here were so steep, they felt like they were trying to push you back into the sea. The houses were small, built with sweat and corrugated tin. This was a place where dreams usually stayed small, tucked away in the pockets of worn-out trousers. In a small, cramped home on one of these steep inclines, Maria Dolores dos Santos Aveiro looked out at the horizon. She was a woman of iron strength, her hands calloused from cleaning houses and cooking for others. Her husband, José Diniz Aveiro, was a gardener and a man haunted by the shadows of a war he fought in Africa. They already had 3 children, Hugo, Elma, and Liliana Katia. Money was not just tight, it was often non-existent. When Dolores found out she was pregnant again in 1984, she wept, not out of lack of love, but out of fear. How could they feed another mouth? She even considered desperate measures to end the pregnancy, but the universe had a different plan. The child stayed. On February 5th, 1985, a baby boy was born. They named him Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro. The Ronaldo was a nod to Ronald Reagan, his father's favorite actor. The moral of the smallest beginning. The first moral lesson of Cristiano's life began before he could even walk. Your arrival might be unplanned by man, but it is never a mistake to the soul. Every life, no matter how humble its entry, carries the seed of greatness. As Cristiano grew, the rural landscape of Santo Antonio became his first training ground. While other children, in richer parts of the world, had lush green fields and expensive leather balls, Cristiano had the rua, the street. The street was made of uneven asphalt and jagged rocks. If you fell, you didn't just get dirty, you bled. "Cristiano, come inside, the soup is getting cold," Dolores would yell from the porch. But the boy wouldn't hear her. He was 6 years old, dancing around a ball that was often nothing more than a bunch of rags tied together with string. He would dribble past the neighborhood dogs, past the rusted gates, and up the steep inclines. His father, Diniz, worked as the kit man for a small local club called Abelhinha. It was a lowly job, washing jerseys, pumping up balls, but it gave Cristiano his first glimpse of the temple. One afternoon, Diniz watched his son playing in the dirt. His shoes were falling apart at the seams. His frame was scrawny, his ribs showing through his thin shirt. But his eyes were like those of a hawk. He didn't just kick the ball, he obsessed over it. "You want to come to the club?" Diniz asked, his voice gravelly. Cristiano's face lit up. "Can I play?" "You can try, but remember, boy, out there, nobody gives you anything for free. You have to earn the right to touch the ball." The moral of the Abelhinha. At Abelhinha, the other kids initially laughed at him. He was the son of the kit man, the poor kid among the poor kids. They nicknamed him Abelhinha, the little bee, because he never stopped moving. He buzzed across the pitch, relentless and irritating to his opponents. But Cristiano carried a secret pain. Whenever he lost a game, or whenever a teammate didn't pass him the ball, he would burst into tears. The other boys called him a crybaby. His mother, seeing him come home with red eyes, sat him down on their small wooden porch. "Why do you cry, Cristiano?" she asked. "Because I want to win, Mama. They don't try as hard as I do." Dolores gripped his shoulders. "Listen to me. The world will try to break you because you care. If you cry, cry because you are working hard, not because you are weak. Turn those tears into fuel. If they won't pass you the ball, go get it yourself." This became the second great moral of his life. Sensitivity is not a weakness if it is redirected into passion. The Crybaby was simply a winner who hadn't found his way yet. The departure. By the age of 10, the island was becoming too small for the boy. He had joined Nacional, one of the island's bigger clubs, and it was clear he was a prodigy. But the scouts from the mainland, from the great city of Lisbon, were calling. Sporting CP, one of the giants of Portugal, wanted him for a trial. This was the crossroads. For a rural family in Madeira, sending a 12-year-old across the ocean to the capital was like sending him to another planet. The night before he left, the house was silent. Dolores packed his meager belongings into a small bag. She looked at her son, who was barely 5 feet tall and weighed next to nothing. "You don't have to go," she whispered. "You can stay here. We will find a way." Cristiano looked at the damp walls of their home. He looked at his father's tired hands. He looked at the steep hills that trapped so many people in a cycle of poverty. "If I stay, Mama, I will only ever be a gardener or a laborer. If I go, I can change everything for us." At 12 years old, Cristiano Ronaldo walked onto a plane for the first time. He was terrified. He was leaving the only world he knew, the rural goats, the salt air, the sound of his mother's voice, to chase a ghost of a chance. As the plane lifted off from the dangerous short runway of Funchal, Cristiano looked out the window. He didn't see the beauty of the island. He saw a promise,